Hey there, and welcome to Boys Love Story, where we bring you touching BL school romances that will warm your heart and stir your emotions. Each episode on this channel is a unique journey of love. Whether it's sweet, slow burn, dramatic, or healing, our stories are crafted to make you feel seen and comforted. Today's story falls into the school BL genre and is all about young love, emotional growth, and moments that make your heart flutter. Title: Skipping Class with You on the School Rooftop. Genre: School life, secret friendship, emotional healing, light angst. Slow burn romance, happy ending. So grab your headphones, get cozy, and let your imagination drift into a world where boys fall in love, quietly, boldly, and beautifully. The first drops of rain tapped lightly on the school windows as gray clouds swallowed the afternoon sun. The final bell hadn't rung yet, but Kaido Tanaka had had enough. The endless equations on the board, the lifeless chatter, the suffocating expectations, he needed out. He slipped his phone into his pocket, stuffed his half-finished notes into his backpack, and left the classroom without a word. No one stopped him. Being a top student had its privileges. Even disappearing was somehow forgivable. The school rooftop wasn't technically off limits, but students rarely went there. It was usually locked, and most assumed it was too exposed to be worth the risk. But Kaido knew better. He'd found a loose latch last semester while helping a teacher bring up supplies. Since then, he'd kept the secret to himself. Today, though, he wasn't alone. As he pushed open the heavy metal door, the soft creak echoed beneath the soft sound of falling rain. He stepped out into the chilly air, expecting solitude, but someone was already sitting on the far side of the rooftop. A figure in the school uniform sat cross-legged near the railing, hoodie pulled up, sketchbook balanced on his knee. His head was bent low, pencil moving smoothly over the paper. Completely absorbed in his world. Kaido blinked. "What the?" The boy looked up slowly, clearly surprised. A moment passed in silence before he returned his gaze to the sketchbook without a word. Kaido frowned. "You're not supposed to be here. Neither are you," the boy replied calmly, not bothering to look up this time. Kaido bristled at the tone. "I could report you." "You won't," the boy said. "And how do you know that?" This time, the boy looked up. His eyes were dark and sharp, observant. "Because you're here too." "Touché." Kaido walked toward the opposite end of the rooftop and sat with a frustrated sigh. "TCH, whatever. Do what you want." The rain was light, barely misting the surface of the rooftop, and the sky hung low with a heaviness that mirrored Kaido's mood. For several minutes, silence stretched between them, broken only by the soft scratch of pencil on paper. Eventually, curiosity got the better of him. "You always come up here?" he asked, not looking at the boy. "Sometimes," the boy replied. "When it rains," Kaido snorted. "Weird. You came too," the boy pointed out. Kaido glanced over. "What are you even drawing?" The boy hesitated, then flipped the sketchbook around briefly to show a simple but detailed drawing of the cloudy sky. Rain filtering down over rooftops and distant trees. "That's actually pretty good," Kaido said despite himself. The boy shrugged. "It's just for me." Kaido narrowed his eyes. "You're Run, right? From Class 2B? Ren nodded. Kaido. Class 2A, star athlete. Top 5 in math. Basically the golden boy. Didn't know I had a fan club. Ren gave him a dry look. I observe. Doesn't mean I care. Kaido let out a short laugh. Well, you're kind of a mystery. People say weird things about you. Let them. Ren's tone was flat, but there was a flicker of something in his expression. Resignation, maybe. People always talk. Kaido didn't press. He leaned back against the wall, watching the sky. For the first time in days, his chest didn't feel so tight. The rain. The quiet. The presence of someone who didn't expect anything from him. It was oddly comforting. The next day, the rain returned. And so did Kaido. He told himself it was just coincidence. That he needed air. That the rooftop was the only place he could breathe lately. But when he opened the rooftop door and saw Ren already sitting in the same spot, sketchbook in hand, something inside him relaxed. Ren glanced up. "You again?" Kaido raised an eyebrow. "Don't sound so thrilled." Ren smirked faintly. "Didn't say I wasn't." They didn't talk much that day. Just sat in silence. Kaido on one side, Ren on the other. But when the bell rang and they both stood to leave, Ren said, "Same time tomorrow?" Kaido hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, sure." Days turned into a routine. Rooftop sessions became their quiet rebellion. Sometimes they talked. Other times, they didn't need to. Kaido would scroll through music playlists or rant about his annoying classmates. Ren would draw or sketch random things Kaido said. One time, Ren sketched Kaido mid-yawn, his mouth wide open like a lion. He never let Kaido see it. But Kaido noticed the corners of Ren's lips twitch with amusement when he teased him about it. "Why do you even hide up here?" Kaido asked one afternoon, watching the clouds. Ren didn't answer immediately. He traced the edge of his sketchbook with his thumb. "People are loud. Judging. I like quiet. Doesn't sound like much of a life," Kaido muttered. Ren looked at him. "Maybe not, but at least it's honest." Kaido thought about that for a long moment. Honest. That word stuck in his chest. They were from different worlds. Kaido was admired, expected to be great. Ren was ignored, whispered about. Yet, on that rooftop, none of it mattered. There were no teachers, no homework, no judgment. Just two boys, slowly unraveling the walls they'd built. And while they might not have known it yet, something fragile and real had started to grow between them. Like the sky after the rain, quiet, clear, and full of possibilities. The next few days brought unexpected sunlight. The clouds parted, and the sky turned a lazy blue, but Kaido still went to the rooftop. To his surprise, Ren was already there. Sitting cross-legged with a thermos in one hand and his sketchbook resting against his knee. The breeze ruffled his hair, and for a moment, Kaido just watched from the door. This quiet boy, who seemed so distant in class, was somehow becoming the one person he looked forward to seeing. "You're early today," Kaido said, walking over and setting down a small lunch bag next to him. Ren didn't look up. "Thought you wouldn't come without the rain. I thought the same about you." Ren smiled faintly and gestured to the lunch bag. "What's that?" "Lunch. My mom packs too much food." Kaido lied easily. Figured I'd share. Ren blinked at him. "You skipped class just to bring me lunch?" Kaido shrugged, a bit embarrassed. "I didn't skip just for you. I needed a break." Ren said nothing for a moment, then took the bag, pulling out a sandwich and some fruit. He didn't say thank you, but the slight softness in his expression said enough. They sat there, eating in silence for a while. Then Kaido asked, "Do you even go to class anymore?" Ren paused mid-bite. "Sometimes. Depends." Kaido frowned. "Depends on what?" Ren hesitated, then gave a short breath. "If I feel like I can handle it." The words hung in the air for a long time. Kaido turned to him, confused. "What do you mean?" Ren put his sandwich down, gaze fixed on the distant skyline. "Back in junior high, I got bullied. Bad. For drawing. For being quiet. For being different, I guess. There was this one day, they ripped up my sketchbook and shoved it in the toilet. I stopped going to school after that. Kaido's fists clenched involuntarily. What the hell? I transferred here last year. Tried to start over. But crowded classrooms, loud hallways, sometimes it just... Rin shook his head. It feels like I can't breathe. Kaido didn't know what to say. The image of Rin, calm, witty Rin, hiding this behind his quiet exterior made his chest ache. Why didn't you tell anyone? He finally asked. Rin looked at him with a tired smile. You think anyone would listen? Kaido wanted to argue. But he thought about the way people whispered about Rin behind his back. About the way teachers brushed things off. How classmates like easy explanations. And he didn't know what to say anymore. I won't tell anyone, Kaido said quietly. I know, Rin replied, just as quietly. After that day, Kaido started bringing lunch to the rooftop regularly. Sometimes it was leftovers from his mom, sometimes just convenience store snacks. Rin never asked, but he always shared. Their conversations became less awkward, more honest. Rin started showing Kaido his sketches. Some were rough, others stunningly detailed. He even had a sketch of Kaido, back turned, looking at the sky. You drew me? Kaido asked, half surprised. You look peaceful, Rin said. Didn't think you'd ever see it. Kaido smiled. Guess I don't mind being your model. They both laughed at that, soft, real laughter. One afternoon, after another quiet rooftop lunch, Rin asked, Why do you even come up here? Kaido hesitated, then answered honestly. Pressure. Expectations. People always think I've got it all figured out. Grades, sports, future. But it's exhausting, pretending I'm okay when I'm not. Rin looked at him, eyes softer than usual. So, you hide too? Kaido nodded. Up here, I don't have to be anything. Just me. For a moment, they sat there, not speaking. And in that silence, something deeper connected between them. Not just understanding, but the quiet intimacy of two people who saw each other, really saw. But the world outside the rooftop wasn't as kind. Rumors began to spread. Did you hear Kaido's been skipping class? He's been seen on the rooftop with that weird art kid. What's his name, Ren? Maybe they're dating or something. Kaido heard the whispers in the hallway, saw the stares during lunch. It was subtle at first, curious glances, muttered gossip, but it started growing. And it made him curious. One day, as he walked to class, someone muttered just loud enough for him to hear. Didn't think Golden Boy swung that way. Kaido froze. He clenched his fists but kept walking. On the rooftop later that day, Rin noticed Kaido's stormy expression. Bad day? People are talking, Kaido said sharply. Rin looked away. Let them. They're talking about you too. I'm used to it. That doesn't make it okay. Kaido snapped, surprising even himself. Rin blinked, stunned by the outburst. I'm tired of hiding up here like we've done something wrong, Kaido muttered. Rin was silent for a long moment. It's not about hiding. It's about surviving. Kaido looked at him, chest tight. I don't want you to survive. I want you to live. Rin met his eyes. There was a flicker of emotion there, uncertainty, gratitude, maybe even fear. You're not the only one who's scared, Kaido. Kaido looked away, voice quiet. I know. As they sat side by side, the silence stretched again, comfortable, but charged. The world below kept spinning, whispering, judging. But on the rooftop, with secrets shared and silences understood, two boys began to realize something simple, something terrifying, something true. They were no longer alone. It started with whispers, just like most disasters in high school. Kaido's been acting weird lately, don't you think? I heard he's always up on the rooftop with that Ren guy. Isn't Ren that loner who barely talks to anyone? Kinda creepy. By the time the third rumor reached Kaido's ears, he already knew where it was coming from. Suda. They had been best friends since middle school. But lately, every time Kaido skipped class, every time he brushed off Suda's invites or disappeared without saying anything, he could feel the shift, the distance, the tension. And now, the whispers were impossible to ignore. One afternoon, just before homeroom, Kaido found Hina and Suda leaning against the lockers, speaking in hushed tones with a few other classmates. When they saw him approach, they went silent, too silent. Kaido stopped in front of Suda. "You got something to say?" he asked, voice sharp. Suda shrugged. "Just wondering when you're gonna stop playing hero for that rooftop kid. He has a name." Kaido replied. "So does your reputation." Hina cut in with a smirk. "And it's going downhill fast." Kaido's jaw tightened. He wanted to scream, but the eyes around them, watching, waiting, held him back. He turned without another word and walked away. That day, everything collapsed. A teacher caught them sneaking up to the rooftop. Kaido tried to take the blame, but Ren refused to stay quiet. They were both given detention for repeated absences and a warning on their records. Worse, the teacher contacted their parents. That night, Kaido's house became a war zone of questions. "What were you thinking? Why are you skipping class? Is this about some relationship?" Kaido didn't answer. He just stared out the window, remembering the way Ren looked when they were caught, shoulders slumped, lips tight, like he'd known it was coming all along. The next morning, Ren wasn't on the rooftop, nor the day after. Kaido waited. He brought lunch anyway, left it in the same spot. But Ren never came. A week passed. Kaido sat in the back of the class, half listening to the lessons, heart pounding whenever the door opened. But Ren had completely vanished from his days, like the rooftop had swallowed him whole. At lunch, Kaido finally cornered Suda. "Where's Ren?" he demanded. Suda raised a brow. "Why do you care so much?" "Because unlike you, I don't throw people under the bus to protect my own comfort." Suda's smile dropped. "He's using you, Kaido," he said coldly. "You don't see it, but he's messing with your head, making you feel like you're special, like you can save him, but you can't." Kaido stared at him, stunned. "Is that what you think of me? That I'm some fool being manipulated? I think you're so desperate to escape your perfect life that you'll cling to anything broken enough to justify it." The words hit harder than any punch. And they hurt because maybe there was some truth in them. The final straw came when Kaido saw Ren at the edge of the courtyard during cleaning duty. Their eyes met for a brief second. Then Ren turned and walked away. No sketchbook. No quiet smile. No rooftop. Just distance. Kaido didn't sleep that night. He kept thinking about how Ren used to draw when no one was looking. How he flinched whenever someone raised their voice. How he smiled like it hurt. And how, for the first time in a long time, Kaido felt like someone saw him. Not the athlete, not the honor student. Just him. The next morning, he stood in front of the class. Everyone turned to stare. The teacher hadn't arrived yet. Kaido took a deep breath and spoke. "I need to say something." No one interrupted. But murmurs passed like waves. He looked around the room. His gaze landed on Suda, then Hina. Then, finally, the empty seat in the back, Ren's. "I've been skipping class." "That's true. I broke the rules, and I accept that." More whispers. "But I didn't do it because I hate school. Or because someone made me. I did it because, for the first time, I found a place where I didn't have to pretend to be perfect." I found someone who didn't expect anything from me, who didn't care if I was top of the class or not. A heavy pause. I skipped class, because being with him made me feel human again. The room went completely silent. Not even the sound of breathing. Kaido continued, voice steadier now. You can spread your rumors. You can call me whatever you want. But don't blame him. Ren never asked for this. He never asked me to stay. I chose to. Then he sat down. The teacher walked in seconds later, completely unaware of what had just unfolded. Later that day, when Kaido returned to the rooftop, just out of habit, he found a paper bag sitting where Ren usually sat. Inside, a sandwich, a small carton of milk, and a folded sketch. It was a drawing of the two of them, sitting on the rooftop, backs against the wall, heads tilted toward each other, with the sky wide and open above them. On the back of the sketch was a single sentence, written in small, neat handwriting. Thanks for saying what I couldn't. Kaido pressed the paper to his chest, closed his eyes, and smiled. The rooftop had never felt so full. The sky was gray that morning, one of those cloudy, humming days that whispered of rain. The kind of sky that felt like it knew something you didn't. Kaido climbed the stairs to the rooftop, unsure if he'd find Ren there again. But he was. Sitting in his usual spot, legs pulled up, sketchbook in hand. The wind tousled his hair, and for a second, he looked more like a figure in a painting than a real boy. Ren didn't look up when Kaido approached. You're late, he murmured. Kaido smiled. Didn't know we had a schedule. Ren finally glanced up. Something small and tentative in his expression. I missed this. So did I, Kaido replied. They sat in silence for a while, just the wind and the city noises below them. It was Ren who finally broke it. There's something I need to tell you, he said, voice quieter than usual. Kaido shifted closer. Okay. Ren closed his sketchbook, pressing his fingers tightly against the cover like it anchored him. I wasn't always like this, he began. I used to be louder. Happier, maybe. In my old school, I had a best friend. Or I thought I did. He took a shaky breath. We used to hang out all the time. I told him I liked someone. I didn't even say it was a guy. Just that it was someone. But rumors started anyway. One day, I walked into class, and my name was written on the whiteboard. With slurs. Everyone was laughing. Kaido's fists clenched at his sides. They didn't even let me explain. I got shoved into lockers. Someone dumped paint on my bag. My parents, they didn't understand. Just said transferring was the simplest solution. So I came here. I thought I'd stay invisible. Safe. He looked up, meeting Kaido's gaze for the first time. But then you showed up. The silence that followed felt heavy, but not painful. Like the air was holding its breath. Kaido's voice, when it came, was soft, steady. Then let's make this rooftop ours, he said. Just ours. No rumors. No past. No one else. Ren blinked, eyes wide. Kaido smiled and reached over, gently touching Ren's hand. I'm not going anywhere. For a moment, Ren didn't move. Then, slowly, his fingers curled around Kaido's. The days that followed were warmer somehow. The rooftop became their sanctuary again, but different now, full of laughter, quiet music, and shared dreams. They talked about everything, Ren's art, Kaido's old piano lessons, their fears, their hopes. Every little detail felt like stitching two broken pieces together. When the school festival was announced, Kaido had an idea. Let's do something, he said. Ren raised an eyebrow. Like what? Kaido grinned. A project. Music and art. Something we can do together. Ren hesitated. In front of the whole school? It doesn't have to be a big display, Kaido said quickly. It can be a hidden corner. A quiet exhibit. Just something that shows us. Ren looked down at his sketchbook. Okay, he whispered. But only if you play the piano again. Kaido laughed. Deal? They spent 2 weeks preparing. After school, between classes, late into the evenings. Ren painted and designed panels that told a story, 2 silhouettes meeting on a rooftop, sharing storms. Finding light. Kaido composed a soft piano piece to match the journey, one that started lonely and tense, but ended full of hope. The night before the festival, they snuck into the school to set up their booth, tucked behind the art wing, quiet and out of sight. It wasn't grand, but it was theirs. On the day of the festival, the rooftop was locked to prevent unauthorized hanging out, as the teachers put it. So instead, Ren and Kaido stood beside their booth, awkward and nervous as students wandered by. At first, few noticed, but then someone stopped. Then another. A group of students gathered, listening to the soft music looping from a speaker, staring at the panels of art, tracing the emotional beats in every brush stroke. Whispers began again, but these were different. This is beautiful. Who made this? I think it's that quiet guy and the class rep. When someone asked for the creators, Ren hesitated. But Kaido stepped forward and said, It's us. No shame. No hiding. Just truth. Ren stood beside him. Slowly he smiled. For the first time in a long while, it was free, unafraid, real. Later that afternoon, rain began to fall. Thin, gentle drops. Ren and Kaido stood outside under the awning, watching the students scatter under umbrellas. Kaido glanced at him. Do you want to run for it? Ren shook his head. No. Let's stay. So they did. They stood in the rain, side by side, letting it wash away everything that had come before. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't flashy. But it was theirs. The final bell of the semester rang like a sigh of relief across the school. Exams were done. Desks had been cleared. The walls, once filled with posters and deadlines, now stood bare, like they, too, were preparing to let go. But on the very top floor, past the old stairwell with a flickering light, 2 boys pushed open the rooftop door once more. It creaked, as always, but this time, it didn't matter. No more hiding. No more sneaking. No more fear. Ren stepped out first, the breeze catching the edges of his school jacket. The sky above was a piercing blue, clean, open, limitless. He squinted up at it, hand lifting to block the sun. I almost forgot the sky could look like this, he said softly. Kaido followed behind, carrying 2 cans of soda and a bent bento box. He nudged Ren's shoulder as he passed. You say that every time there's not a cloud in sight, he teased. Ren smirked. Yeah, well, this one feels different. They sat down against the old rooftop wall, their usual spot. The spot where so much had happened. Where silences turned into secrets. And secrets turned into something that looked suspiciously like love. Kaido cracked open a can. Cheers! To graduating without getting caught again. Ren laughed under his breath. We got caught plenty. Yeah, Kaido admitted. But no one could really stop us, could they? A comfortable silence fell between them. Below, the school buzzed with farewells. Students snapping final pictures, hugging, crying. But up here, it was quiet, like time had paused just for them. Ren leaned his head back against the wall. Do you think we'll ever come back here? Kaido glanced over. To the school? No, Ren said. Here. The rooftop. Kaido didn't answer right away. He took a sip of soda, then set the can down beside him. "I think we'll carry it with us," he said finally. Not the bricks or the rust or the stupid creaky door, but the way it felt. When it was just us. Ren smiled faintly. A smile that reached his eyes in that rare way it only did when he truly meant it. Then they heard footsteps. From the stairwell. Kaido tensed, instinctively reaching for Ren's hand. Not even realizing he had done it until their fingers brushed. The rooftop door swung open. A group of classmates stood there, Suda, Hina, a few others. They paused in the doorway, caught off guard by the sight before them. Two boys sitting close, fingers touching, laughter still hanging in the air. For a moment, no one said anything. Kaido stood up, ready to face whatever came. Ren moved to do the same, but Kaido squeezed his hand gently. "Wait." Suda looked away first. He muttered something under his breath, nudged Hina, and the group quietly turned around and left. No mockery. No judgment. Just acceptance in its own awkward way. Kaido let out a slow breath, then sat back down beside Ren. "Well," Ren said softly, "that could have gone worse." "Yeah." Kaido chuckled. "It could have." Ren watched the door swing shut again, then turned to face Kaido. "Hey." Ren looked down at their hands, still lightly touching. "Thank you," he whispered. "For skipping class with me." Kaido smiled. "It was the best part of high school." The breeze picked up, ruffling their hair. The sky above them stretched endlessly, and for the first time, neither of them felt small beneath it. They didn't need to say, "I love you." Not yet. Because it was in the quiet. In the way they leaned into each other. In the way Ren rested his head on Kaido's shoulder, and Kaido let it stay there like it had always belonged. Their rooftop was no longer a secret. It was a memory. A beginning. A place where one boy skipped class and found something unexpected. Someone who saw him. Someone who stayed. Someone who, under the blue sky, made the world feel a little less heavy. Thank you so much for spending time with Boys Love Story today. We hope this episode touched your heart, made you smile, or even gave you a moment to escape into something beautiful. If you enjoyed the story, we'd love for you to support us by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with other BL lovers out there. Your support means the world and helps us create more stories filled with love, hope, and healing. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new chapter. Until next time, stay safe, stay kind, and stay in love.